And I will do a mic check in a second.
All right. Let me hang on. I have to go acquire the appropriate refreshment.
All good.
I need to go start another cup of coffee, and I need to get another beer.
Okay, so stream is good. We have audio. Hey, I don't know if we've got anybody watching yet, but welcome back to the Militant Casual West Coast Jank Tank Tournament, and welcome to our final game of this series, our championship game between our number one overall draft pick, Rick Ruddell, meaning that he drafted first, not that we would ever pick Rick first in a draft. I mean, let's be real. And facing Rick in this championship game is the person who drafted 12th out of 16, Daniel Lim. So Rick comes in after a 6-round Swiss and a top 4 cut. Rick comes in at 6-1. Daniel comes in at 5-2, having each won their top 4 match to get to the championship game here. And you'll notice as Daniel gets going here that his list is not that dissimilar from Rick's, just in terms of sort of template. So Rick is bringing in his Empire list, 200 points. Vader with Afterburners, an Omicron group pilot with ST321, and 2 strikers, Pierce Sabak with Crackshot and Vagabond with 35. Daniel has a similar archetype where he's bringing Hollow as his version of Vader, except laughs at target locks, with his version of the Omicron group pilot being Petty Officer Thanison. Thanison has advanced optics, pattern analyzer, and Supreme Leader Snoke to giving him a force point. And then he's got 2 TIE fighters, not quite the same as the 2 TIE strikers, but still basically there to body for the shuttle and for, if he needs it to, Hollow.
Hey guys.
Hello. So I'm Ben. I'm the one of the founders of the Militant Casuals, here broadcasting this final game. Daniel is taking first player with first player choice. Joining me tonight in the booth, who's been with us quite a bit in this tournament, is Vince from the Wide World of Wargaming X-Wing podcast. Hello, Vince.
He's 4 in a row on that, folks. I'm really proud of him.
You notice I have to slow down very, very carefully to get it right, too.
I don't get why people have such trouble with it. Watch. I'm going to do it in one try, and it's going to be fast. Wide World of Wargaming.
It's because I want to say Wide War, and I don't know why. And I'm not going to explain or try to explain. It's just the way my brain wants to work. So anyway, Wide World of Wargaming. We may or may not be joined by other dinks here in the booth at some point. But so yeah, I was just talking about just doing an intro for the game tonight, that we've got Rick with the first overall draft list, and then Daniel with the 12th, and that they're similar archetypes. We've seen both of them on the stream several times. Vince, you played Rick. I don't remember if you played Daniel or not.
I have not played Daniel.
Okay. So let's. Oh, and of course we did stream the previous matchup between these two, where Daniel did what Daniel does and basically killed Vader, which that's kind of the key to beating this list. So it'll be interesting to see how they approach things differently in the rematch. Vince and I both greatly enjoyed that in the first match, Rick didn't realize that target locking Hollow with Vader is a losing gambit. He surely will not make that mistake again. So let's actually... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, we hope he doesn't make the same mistake again.
I kind of hope he does, just for the sheer comedy of it, but...
That's fair.
So, knowing what Rick knows now, having lost to Daniel in their matchup, in fact, Daniel was Rick's only loss in the tournament. If you're Rick, what do you do differently besides, don't target lock Hollow? How do you approach Daniel's list?
Here's the problem. If you don't kill Hollow, Hollow kills Sabak and Vagabond very quickly. Like, outmaneuver pattern analyzer with a coordinate, Hollow is going to just take chunks out of those strikers real quick. And everybody in here knows how fast 4 health disappear, especially when you only have 1 evade die. I don't want to say that it's a good idea for Rick to waste Vader flying around in circles after Hollow, but you have to protect the other members of your squad. And we said this last time, Vagabond Sabak and the OGP will beat Revis, ESC, Petty, Thanasin straight up. It's just dice versus health. It's really the mathematical certainty. But the problem is, if the dice turn against you, which it's Daniel,
but it's also Rick.
It is, but you know what? Like, Rick doesn't get those timely rolls that Daniel does.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, Rick gets generally above average dice. Daniel gets crazy shit.
Yeah.
So I almost think you want to use Vader as a hollow suppression device, and then just win on a rest of the list basis. But I also wouldn't be mad if he tried to flank with Vader to get around behind Thanasin and just burn him down really quick.
Yeah.
But then it's a damage race,
Yep.
It's a damage race between Hollow and Vader.
The one thing that, Vader's damage potential does sort of force Daniel to do that he doesn't typically do is he does have to keep Hollow close to the list early on. We've seen him in the games. It's a couple of the games where he hasn't played Rick, starting Hollow well away from the rest of his group, and then relying on the ability to shed those tokens later in the match as opposed to early. So, for example, here we've got Hollow lining up sort of in the middle, well within range of the TIE fighters he can pass stuff off to, and also close enough that they can get early target locks. And of course, Rick is countering by basically, putting Vader there with his block as well. So, looks like we are heading into dials for turn 1. If you're Daniel, and knowing that Dice did play a role in your victory against Rick in the first place, how do you try to get a better result this time?
I still think the key to beating Rick is you either get rid of Vader or you get rid of Sabak as quickly as possible. Because Vagabond and an OGP are not going to beat you by themselves, right. And I promise you they will die faster than a regular TIE Epsilon, a first order TIE fighter.
Right.
You can't afford to have Sabak be dropping 5 die crack shot focused attacks.
Right.
Like, you can't do it.
Right. Yeah. You can't afford to take those shots. To give up a shot like that on Hollow, which Daniel won't, but you really can't afford to let 5 dice come in on Petty Officer Thanasin either, because that's a real fast way to lose your tank, for lack of a better term.
No, that's what Thanasin is. That's what the Epsilon is.
Yep.
What I think Daniel probably, if Daniel has any improvements that he needs to make in how he flies this, he never uses Snoke as much as I want him to.
Mm-hmm.
He has a ready-made blocking tool in front of him in his list. And Thanasin doesn't spend a lot of his turns shooting. We've seen it happen.
True.
Use your force for what it's effective for. You have a coordinate, and you have the ability to show somebody's dial. You have anti-ace tools, and you have Hollow, who is anti-Vader tech. You have no excuse to not win this game.
All right, so there's the first self-bump. Petty Officer Thanasin staying where he was, and we'll probably see the same thing from the OGP. Here we have the target locks being taken on Hollow, so Hollow has some tokens to pass off. First from the ESC with a fairly conservative 3 forward out of the gate. I'm sure that we'll see the same from Rivas. Interested to see what Rick does with his strikers for sure. I suspect that they're going to probably try to take advantage of 2 different lanes just to make Daniel have to think about, turns coming up.
So I have said this before in Daniel's games, and I'm going to say it again. I want to see him land the Thanasin into an outmaneuvered Hollow range one shot on somebody. I think that's an incredible synergy of abilities that he has never taken advantage of. Probably in the hopes of playing a conventionally good game of X-Wing. But this is the championship, man. Like, if you're ever going to pull it out, now's the time.
I mean, literally, because
Yeah,
this
like if
because
you're
this
ever,
list is going into the trash pile as soon as we're done here. So
and the nice thing about it is if he gets knowing where Vader is going to be, if you get Thanison into the right spot, and Vader cannot stress himself. He can't do his
right.
best. He has to burn his force down.
Yep. What's interesting to me here is we do have, a matchup that is essentially the overall first draft choice and an obvious choice, of the Vader list here, where Afterburners was the addition. What's interesting to me is that Daniel's list made it all the way to 12th because we've seen a lot in the Jank Tank tournaments that have been held both with us but also with the Gold Knox that the winning lists tend to be lists that just don't waste points. And you can absolutely say, I think, here that there's not really a wasted point on Daniel's list. There may not be optimal points, but there's no bad points.
I agree. I agree.
Um,
I think it's true for both lists.
totally, totally. There's not a single wasted point on Rick's list at all. There's an argument to be made that there's maybe better Force users than Snoke out there, or that you don't even need a Force user on Thanison. But that's not to say that he's not useful, both as uh, a Force point in combat, or potentially that ability we've been sort of talking around a little bit. So,
In what meta of X-Wing is a regenerating offensive or defensive mod ever a bad thing?
right, exactly. It turns out passive mods are good.
Yeah. And like if you look at the build he has on Thanison, it's pattern analyzer, advanced optics with a force token. He could red stop, focus, roll 2 hits, a blank and a focus, and it's 4 hits.
Yep.
Like
And
the
we have
shit.
seen, of the things we have seen, I think that's where Daniel tends to keep that. I think that Force Point 4 is because he's got pattern analyzer, advanced optics, and so many options to do things to his offensive dice, right? You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
granted that he hasn't always gotten the arc on things, and so I totally hear where you're coming from, but actually this is probably a good time to talk about the play styles that we have going on here. So Rick is a more aggressive and instinctive player than Daniel, and so as we talk about this game, you'll hear us sort of as we think about what Rick will do versus what Daniel will do. If Daniel can preserve damage with whatever token use he has, he will. If
Yeah.
Rick can deal damage with whatever token use he can, he will. And so it is an interesting contrast in styles. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say Rick is a lot more willing to, as they say in NASCAR, swap some paint.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, Daniel does not take hits if he can avoid taking hits.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
I just want to take a moment also to say hi to Brian and Sean, who are watching us from the North Bay and from the Sacramento area.
that Sean
And
Bowman?
yep, Sean Bowman, Brian Webb.
Get out there, dude. Sean's my boy. We play test lists all the time.
Nice.
His Rack Whisper is one of the benchmarks I test out any extended list against.
Yeah, that's fair because it is a great extended list.
It's our current reigning Nerds and Casual Open champion.
Yep. Yep.
So I don't like Rick bottling up the shuttle this long. I worry that he's going to make the mistake of wasting a 3-die gun, even as a support ship, when Daniel's absolutely not going to waste Thanison. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. He did this in the first game we streamed that he played, and the OGP was out of that fight a little bit. It didn't end up costing him in that game, but it did leave the OGP out of position for a couple of engagements where 3 dice is no joke. The ability to coordinate is no joke. Now, I think what Rick is doing here is trying to keep Vader and the OGP sort of paired and wait for Daniel to pick lanes. wait for Daniel to have to respond to the pressure that is coming from Vagabond and Pure Sabak. The challenge I think here is that because OGP is kind of slow, I think he's left Daniel an opportunity to go all in on Vagabond and Pure Sabak, where OGP is not going to be able to help.
Yeah, if Daniel does this correct, he could very easily end up getting a round of shooting from Hollow Rebus and the Epsilon into Pure, basically for free. And Vader won't be able to help.
And I think in that sense, I think if I were Rick, I would have been thinking about here potentially self-stressing to slow those guys down a little bit. Yeah, it makes them more predictable, but also it makes it harder for Daniel to do. All he really has to do is 3 hards from the 2 ties, a 3 bank from Petty Officer, and a 1 hard from Hollow next turn, and he probably has multiple arcs on one of those 2 guys, given how quickly they kind of have to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid that Rick might be overcorrecting for his last game, because I think what we're looking at right here is him trying to keep Vader away from Hollow deliberately.
Right. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you ask me what I'm looking at right now, I'm looking at OGP sliding in between the rock and the gas cloud on the bottom right.
Yep.
I'm looking at Vader following Sabak into the middle,
yep.
and Vagabond pushing Hollow up towards the top of the board, where he can focus him down with 3 guns. That's the play. That's the condition I think Rick is operating on.
And I think, in that vein, I think what Rick is planning for here is he's going to use afterburners on Vader. That he's making Daniel think that Vader is out of the fight this turn, and he's going to hope that maybe a 3 bank boost will get him a shot on somebody. Because, Vader's his hammer. I mean, Vader can do just stupid shit to whatever ship he wants it to. I'm not sure that will work if they both go aggressive this turn. Then again, Daniel's not always very aggressive, so I'm really interested to see how they play this turn.
I'm honestly, I think Rick is overcorrecting for what happened in his last game.
Well, talk about that. What happened in his last game?
Well, Rick did not put 2 and 2 together on exactly how hard Hollow counters Vader.
Right.
For those who don't know, Hollow's ability to pass, it's any red token, correct? Or is it any token?
I think it's
pass any token.
I think it's any token.
It has to pass a token.
Yep.
And essentially what kept happening was Daniel went, okay, well, you're going to waste your target lock on me. I'm going to pass it range 0 to 2 to somebody who's out of range of you. So Vader was only ever throwing 2 dice with, 2 dice with a focus against 4 generally, just because that's the game that Daniel plays, behind a focus token.
Yep.
And he just wasn't doing anything. When Vader doesn't get his extra die and his free crit, he's a TIE fighter.
Yep.
And so I think he wants to keep Vader away from Hollow so he doesn't do it to himself again.
Yep.
And I think what he should be doing, Vader should be turned to the right and flying up the side of this board right now.
Yeah.
I mean, his shot.
Yep. Go ahead.
He should be mopping up the chaff. Like, if he's getting Pure Sabak and a fully modded Vader on the Epsilon and then Rebus, he's up 2 ships before he loses either Vagabond or Pure Sabak. Yep. I promise.
Yep. And here Daniel is engaging sort of the direction we expected, but slightly less aggressively than I probably would have done. He might still end up with a shot on Pure Sabak, but of course Sabak's got that ability to decide which direction he's going to aileron to. Now there's OGP, interestingly, turning to follow Pure Sabak down the road as well. Not going for that gap we expected.
Sucks.
Sorry, say that again?
The shuttle's dial is awful.
Yeah, that is interesting that he 2-hearted there, because that also stresses him.
He's playing it like a rebel list.
So there's Vagabond going in hard.
That is... Now, strikers are able to get away from that.
Yep.
Yeah, he's pushing Hollow. And
yep.
I don't know why he doesn't matter.
He rolled it well because he did go over the gas cloud, so he has to roll it.
Right, but I mean, remember, it's he blew hard. He blew maneuvered after he did it, so he clears the strain immediately.
Mm,
That's TIE strikers laugh at gas clouds for the
right.
most part. Okay, this is dangerous.
Yep. So there's the one hard I expected anyway.
I didn't. I thought he would turn away from it.
Well, I don't think Daniel or I were expecting both strikers to be there. I think in this case, I think you
I
barrel
think
roll boost. So
I agree.
you're only taking the sabak shot.
Well, you might be out of range of Sabak. If you roll back and then boost a tiny bit forward, you might be out of range.
I think any boost probably keeps you in range, but it's possible that just a barrel roll gets you enough distance that you're not going to care, and you just take the deplete.
Yeah, deplete into a
Yeah.
focus.
Yep. But you
Here's
definitely
the
don't want to be
problem.
taking both shots.
Because Vagabond and Sabak are going to run right into a 2-harding Thanos next turn.
Right. Yeah.
And they won't be able to sloop, because if you sloop, he's going to hand you a tractor beam.
Yep. So there is a target lock. Or maybe he just stays there and passes the deplete. I don't think that's what I would do, but he could.
Yeah, I mean, you do shoot, but you could stay there, I guess, if you wanted to try to make Sabak spend it and try to get damage at the same time.
Yeah. I don't think he's got the crack shot operative here, so and he might if you barrel rolled.
Yeah.
So
I would, if you can strain into a focus, sure.
well, what I think he'd do here is I think you would deplete, take the target lock, and then focus if you're not going to move. And then you try
Yeah.
to put 2 damage into pure Sabak so he's not rolling 4 dice.
Yeah, you have to get that buff away. Any game I play against Pure Sabak, I get that buff away from
Yep.
him as quickly as humanly possible.
Me too. Me too. All right, so there's quite a lot of conversation, I'm guessing, going on here. So there's the target lock, there's the focus. Yeah, he's just going to stay here and he's going to try to punish pure Sabak before Sabak punishes him. And there's no way for Vader to get into that fight, and Vader's
this is, I don't know why he did that.
Well, I wondered if he might do the 3 hard so that he could go a different lane, or even just like force Daniel to have to think about what Vader's going to do next turn. The problem with that 3 hard is that, and where the OGP is that it meant he couldn't barrel roll out of the sort of space of that gas cloud. So instead he had to spend an afterburner charge, which that's a small victory for Daniel, to be perfectly honest.
Getting an afterburners for free on Vader is never a bad thing.
Yeah, totally.
There goes the strain token.
Yep. Or did he take a strain or deplete? Yeah, I guess it is the strain. So he's going to use that gas cloud to give himself the extra defense next turn when he 2 hards in on those guys. So there's the range 3 on Pure Sabak. And I think you spend the target lock just to try to strip that token. Yeah.
Ooh, look at that.
And I wonder...
Yeah, you spend it.
You spend it just to force Pure Sabak to think hard.
You
I don't think Daniel will...
yeah,
Daniel's not going to, because that's not Daniel's way. But he probably should have.
Yeah, you'd have had it.
Yep, you would have had the die reduction. Like we said, folks, Daniel does not spend tokens when those tokens could be used to save his health. And of course, he could laugh at the 4 dice that are coming in at him. So we'll see. So here we have 4 on 4. No crack shot active. And Rick could blank.
Yeah.
We'd get table flip number 1 if he did.
Okay. I think it's interesting the different
Ooh.
way. This is what I was worried about.
Yep. Yep. So now Daniel needs a really, really good roll.
He needs minimum 3 paint to feel
Yep.
good. Or that.
And we get the first just roll natties of the night. Wow.
Yeah, you know what? It's important to get it in the first turn of engagement, Ben. I
Oh,
really
wow.
think it is.
That's a heartbreaker. Rick got exactly what he needed because Daniel was conservative with his token. And then Daniel's dice just were like, it's fine, man. It's fine. It's fine. So Vagabond will follow up 3 versus 3. Or he does have arc on other things. I don't know why Rick isn't using the appropriate tool.
Because it's easier to just eye it. Yeah, you're not going to waste shots on Thanison. This is you brought these guys down here to shoot hollow. You're going to keep shooting hollow.
Yeah.
God, that's a heartbreaker. Wow.
I mean, the upside here is Thanison is unobstructed. It would be 3 versus 2, but
There you
now
go.
Rick just rolls natties, and here come 3 blanks.
Don't blank out.
Yeah, don't blank out. That's just enough.
Who are we kidding? It's Daniel.
All right, so there shouldn't be any other shots this turn. All right, so let's talk about what Rick does now, because Hollow's just going to peace out here.
I need to look at what I need to find myself a copy of. I need to find Hollow's dial. Oh Jesus, it's got the 5K. If you're Rick, you have to block the 5K with something.
The Hollow 5K?
Yeah.
I wouldn't 5K if I was Daniel. I would be perfectly honest.
There's no reason not to.
The safest place for Daniel actually is a 3 bank to where Pirsabak and Vagabond are. And not only is that safe, I mean, that gives you a chance to go in on Vader from behind or the OGP. And I would be very worried, given that, Rick is a very good player, that Rick is going to block a 4 forward or a 5K. So
you need to block the 5K if you're Rick, because if you don't, you're going to lose one of these guys next turn.
Right. So
the problem is that Vader is too far to affect this game right now.
Exactly. Well, I think Vader's probably going to 3 hard in because he knows that Daniel can't commit to Vader wholly here, right? In fact, Daniel's probably going to want to try to do something very naughty to Vagabond and Pirsabak with Thanison at least.
Oh, it's a 1 hard from Thanison all day.
Yeah. I mean, you could 1 bank with Thanison and be fine, because that leaves you open with options for next turn. You get the gas cloud in defense, and you don't care. Really, I'm curious where the ties go, and I think if I'm the ties and I'm hollow, I go all in actually on the OGP. I say peace out to these guys, and just go fast.
I would assume that Vader is going to come through right here.
Yeah.
Between the rock and the cloud that we said earlier.
Yeah.
And I would 3 bank into it and just go, all right, dude, good luck. I would just start pissing Vader off.
Do you think then, do you do that, 3 banks with the ties and like a 2 or 3 forward with Thanison and go all in on Vader? Because I think
1 hard.
There's like
one hard right with Thanison all day.
Because there's a 50-50 chance that Vader does a 5 forward to get around behind and just forgoes this turn with Vader. That's something I would be thinking very, very hard about. I
would not be. Right now he's playing with about 70 points against 200.
I mean, because Vagabond also, here's the thing. The other thing is that if Thanison does do a hard turn, which he could do, Vagabond does have the ability to just do his pre-maneuver bank to the right and then do any number of things. Sabak could go, any number of directions, including some sort of sloop of his own here. In fact, the sloop is probably the right call to block or get in the way of Hollow's 5K. So, this is not an easy set of choices for Daniel either.
No, and that really is honestly why. If you assume that he's going to try to block that 5K with one of them, that's why I'm bringing Thanison down on a 1 hard.
Right.
um, because anybody that ends up basically north of this rock on the left side is going to be in range.
Yeah.
And it's pattern analyzing Upsilon, so it's going to
Yeah.
have focus token and a force.
I don't think I would go slow with the one hard though. I think I would be aggressive and go too hard because you have the possibility that way of making Vagabond have to make tough decisions that he doesn't necessarily have to make with just a one hard to avoid getting blocked.
I mean, if you look at it, I'm just trying to guess where the front corner, the front, call it the front left corner of Thanason's going to be on a one hard. I think it's going to be a cleared line. Basically, I can't put up any kind of marker,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
think it's going to slip underneath that cloud and just go right, kind of, what would you call
Yeah.
it? Left of the cloud,
Right.
right of the rock down
I
below
think
it.
I think you're correct. I think on a one hard he might miss the cloud entirely. But I'm not. If I'm Daniel, I'm not super concerned about that for this turn. I'm more concerned about where I'm going to be for next turn as well, since I don't know where those two strikers are going to be anyway. Um,
Mm.
so I think maybe a slightly more aggressive move could play more havoc with Rick's actual dial moves and force him to do one of those aileron moves that he doesn't want to have to do. Um, and so I'm kind of thinking of I would be more aggressive with my blockers because you want Rick to have to make tough decisions with his ailerons. He's really good with the ailerons, but a game of X-wing is about making your opponent make mistakes or make suboptimal decisions, and the value that Daniel has on the board here with his 3-1s is to try to interfere with the things Rick wants to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I also wouldn't be mad if you. So technically, you can do both. I think you can, if you want to cover, call it the inside right. So call it the 3 o'clock. They're the 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock position in reference to the rock. You've got Grievous and the Epsilon basically on a 3 straight focus to just go. You can't go here. You bring Thanason down on a 1 hard, and you've cut off any idea of him trying to flank around behind you, and then you 5K with Hollow, and if he blocks it, he's not shooting you. So I think it's really easy to box these two strikers in right now and pick up a kill on one of them and damage on the other.
All right, Daniel is rethinking his moves.
But I haven't engaged full on profit mode yet, so I can't.
So there's the
I'm
one
one
hard. As we suspected, it does not overlap the gas cloud. So
and just look at the arc he has
yeah.
from there. It was too. It's too, yeah.
Oh, he's going super in on our friends the strikers, which not a huge surprise, but it does
No,
leave Vader an option to come in and do bad things.
So what? A 27-point epsilon?
You're Daniel. You don't want to just throw away points. You want to throw away those points on the turns where you're shooting at Vader. But
I think you probably coordinate Vader focus.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the other two are in range. They're not.
Nope. He was probably hoping he could do something for Piercebach. There's the focus for Vader.
Yeah. I think you could probably guarantee this is going to be a 2 hard out of Vader.
Not a 3?
I worry about that rock.
Yeah, I'd be slightly worried about it too. There is the bank boost to the right that I kind of thought he would do, and there's ooh.
Okay, so that's not terrible for Vagabond. That's actually a perfectly fine place to be.
Well, it's rough just for a couple of reasons, right? So he is stressed now. He's going to take some time to re-engage. It's better than getting shot at.
Yeah. Sabak is the one who's in real trouble.
Yeah, if he did a cute little block the 5 forward move or 5K move, he is in serious pain. I agree. I'm not convinced that that's what he's going to do, but we will see shortly.
Sabak is staring down the barrel at it right now.
Yeah, he is. And I'm sure Rick is thinking about how the hell do I get out of this?
How do I get out of this?
I mean, in this, what's rough here is that, part of the problem here is that Rick doesn't have the OGP threatening a lane because he did that too hard last turn and he had to do something crazy to get out of that. Ooh. Well, Sabak is going to do some damage at least before he dies.
He's gonna try to trade him out.
Yeah. Really curious what Daniel did with Hollow, though.
Yeah. I hope it wasn't a 3-bank.
I don't hate a 3-bank still, because you still have a chance. You still have a chance to be in good position next turn. There's the 5K. Yep. I wonder if he's close enough to pass that stress to.
He will be after he boosts.
Oh yeah, pattern analyzer. That's a fair point. But he will have to forego his. Well, I guess he doesn't have to. I'm not sure what the order of operations there is. I think he has to do the action, then he still does have the option to do a linked move.
I'm gonna go look at the wording here.
Yeah.
Okay, so he can't. He's just gonna take it. I think this is just gonna be an unmodified.
Yeah, I think you're right. So there is the left to turn.
Yep, he has to. He can't take another.
That does mean that Vader will not be able to use his afterburners here to get range on somebody he wants to kill. So that's good for Daniel because he's going to be doing a range 3 shot on
the TIE fighter.
On probably you do Rivas here, right? Just because Rivas has no token.
I see nothing wrong with that analysis.
Yeah. So that's what he's doing. He's taking.
Unless you want to try to get that focus away from the Epsilon.
Well, I mean, I think you just let. I mean, Sabak's probably not going to have the extra die anymore anyway.
That's true.
So
Daniel looking for some Daniel dice on this one.
And Daniel put the stress on the ESC, so no surprise there.
Oh.
So his whole list is now stressed except Hollow. There's an average roll for Vader.
That's a nice reroll.
Yeah, just spend that focus. You're not taking any shots, just spend it. No, he used force for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do because
he's not
taking.
He's going
to regenerate one next turn anyway.
I guess he is thinking that Rivas can fire back. So
see, like it's Daniel. This is just, it's ridiculous.
Well, he did fire at Rivas, so that's still going to be shield crit, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good roll. If he had a focus token, he'd be super happy, but he self-bumped, so.
Yeah.
And that's actually that's a great crit for Rick to have Daniel pull.
Yep.
And here comes Hollow. Outmaneuver Sabak. Oof, brutal.
But you know what? We've all seen 4-die unmoddeds miss.
Yep. For sure. But that's not Daniel.
I'm not saying anything. Oh my god.
But he rolled too many.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Rick's laughing. Yeah, if I was Rick, I'd be laughing.
You can't cancel. Reroll all.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, warned you. See?
Oh, Daniel. Daniel.
Hey, you know what I'm worried about now? I'm worried Dannison doesn't have the petty officer.
You mean doesn't have Pure Sabak and Arc?
Doesn't have Pure Sabak. I think that might be behind him.
I think he does, and I think. But I think the gas cloud will also interfere, but we'll find out.
Yeah, we've seen some very interesting variants in dice already.
All right. So the worst part for this is Sabak now does have that extra die to do bad things, and I think again, I think you go at Rivas, get him off the board.
I agree. Oh, speaking. Oh no. All right, that was the defense roll.
Yeah. Yeah, which didn't matter. So both of these are range one.
I think you shoot the Epsilon and you assume you're going to clean up Rivas next turn.
Do you want to strip that token on
I
the?
want that token away.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, with I guess if Rivas wasn't weapons failured, I would think about taking him off the board. But I think you're right. Strip the token.
Yeah, he's doing
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
I understand, Rick. Oh,
Oof.
well.
Well, he will take the shield off the ESC. Oh, let's see. Rivas is at half points. I guess I should update our score sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Rivas is going to fire on Vader and manage to push a hit through anyway, even with weapons failure. No,
I
I
don't
think
think
you
Rivas
fire it.
did.
I think you fire at Sabak actually, but
I dumped the house on Sabak.
yeah. So Dennison
He does.
does have pure Sabak. It is obstructed. That's a hell of a nice roll, and Rick has to use the focus.
Yep.
And that crit will take off half points. So
Good crit.
yeah, that kind of hurts, especially with two more ties taking shots. I mean, a good defense roll. I mean, otherwise Sabak is
Oh, that was very good. That was excellent.
yeah. Otherwise Sabak is gone.
With 3 dice and a cloud and sitting on a focus, it was very unlikely he was going to take serious damage there.
Yeah. Rivas unfortunately is at range 2, but he does roll the crit.
Yep.
But Rick Natty's out of it, and then the ESC will have the last shot.
That's the big moment.
Yep.
This is
That's a
this
great
is one of those,
great roll. So at least one
this
crit
is the
going
shot
through.
game, and he's gone.
Yep. Spock is gone. Oof. So that puts Daniel up 45 to 14.
So if anyone's wondering why I say that's a big roll, A, you just took a 3-die gun off the board, but B, now the Epsilon and Rivas can both go block the shit out of Vader, and Hollow can light him up.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's the big thing.
I mean, Vagabond also has to take a turn off. The OGP is in a shitty position to come in here. If he wants the OGP to, I mean, if he wants the OGP to get guns on, he's going to have to take a stress on the OGP, so it's going to be no action.
And look, Thanison can one bank from here. He can one bank into this turn, 2 hard next turn, and he's in the heart of it.
Yeah, the one bank probably bumps Hollow, so no action, but you clear the stress, so it's fine.
You clear the stress and the strain, and you get that around to where you expect the OGP to come onto the board.
Yeah, totally. It's not the worst thing in the world at all.
I think it's really the only play.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's anything else you do here but do that.
Also, this is a turn. If you're ever going to have one, this is the turn.
I mean, it's basically Vader versus the world at this point. So, I think if you're Vader, I mean, if you're Rick, I would not be shocked to see him do a very fast move from Vader to try to prevent getting blocked.
That's why I'm telling you, this is the time to spend Snoke. You've got 2 guys in a block position and a 3-die hitter to follow it up.
Yep. I mean, if I'm Daniel, I don't think I actually do go very fast with anybody.
No, I agree.
Because if you get arcs on Vader, then Vader's going to only be able to take one ship out. So, I think that like one hards from both of the ties, and then you could even do a one hard with Hollow, I mean, if you're self-bumped,
You know
you
what I
might be
really
in your
like
own way.
actually?
What's that?
You know what I really? I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Go
I
no
think
no
I
go
just put.
ahead go ahead.
I think you one straight Thanison into a coordinate hollow, and you coordinate hollow a focus.
Okay.
Then you one hard, you one or maybe two hard with hollow, and then assuming you land the block on Vader, or you at least just block where Vader can barrel roll, you target lock and then boost left.
Yeah.
Because then you have your two little scrubs there to throw your target lock to if and when Vader drops the lock on you,
Right.
and you also have 3 guns on him.
Yep. So you're
I
saying
think
one forward Thanison so that you definitely don't get the self bump? Is that the play?
yes,
Yeah.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, I like that too. You achieve all the other things, and plus, Thanison turns on the OGP next turn, so you're all good.
Yeah, I would love a hard turn out of hollow here. Um, assuming that you're going to burn snow. Yep. And that's what happens when you don't have
Oof.
anybody in front of you. Is you have to slow roll,
Yeah.
and now he knows where he can put the Epsilon and Rebus to block Vader's roll to the bottom of the board, and he can land the outmaneuver with hollow.
Yep.
The question is, did he set up for it?
Wow, he did go aggressive.
And I think that means that Vader can't roll off of one straight.
Well, I think Vader could, but it's not going to get him anything.
That's true. I think we also kind of have to see where
Because
the other guy.
Vader definitely won't be able to roll to the right, so his only option will be a roll to the left. And what does that do? It just puts him more in Rivas's arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think a too hard into a boost is basically perfect for Hollow right now.
Yeah.
But it depends. I play a lot closer to the Rick school of flying than I do the Daniel. So I'm not positive that he's going to do what I think. Although I've been right both times so far.
Yeah.
Is he not sure who to move first? Oh no! I think he's worried that he might be worried about the Epsilon blocking Hollow. This could
Yeah.
have been a 3-bank.
Well.
It's a
Oh, he's deciding for Rivas. I think he's trying to get Rivas out of the way because the ESC is probably doing a too hard.
hard. Yep.
Yep. Since that's blue.
And then you roll Hollow. Do you roll the Epsilon forward, or do you leave him there?
Yeah, I think I roll the Epsilon to just give more space for Hollow one way or the other. I don't want to risk Hollow getting blocked on anything.
No. Nope.
Oh, but he just
Oh,
target locks.
now I'm really interested to see what he did with Hollow. And he did the 1-bank,
Okay,
so he's
no,
not.
that was a two bank. He went super fast there.
Yeah, that means he's not going to do the coordinate shenanigans. I thought.
Nope. But it is going to put him in good position for next turn, so no harm, no
Oh
foul.
yeah.
And a 2-bank gets Hollow past that, so
Yeah. It's interesting he split the TIE fighters up like that.
okay, so not doing a hard turn into the gap. And will
Yeah.
be depleted or strained.
And he's got that corner sticking out at the top right that's just going to let Thanison and that TIE fighter put damage through on him if they shoot at him.
Yep. So there's Vagabond with just a right bank, clears the stress. In good
He's out of the
position
game
for a future turn.
He's out for this round.
See, the thing I'm not sure about with the Rivas barrel roll is I'm pretty sure Vader can barrel roll out of Rivas's arc now.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not sure.
I think it's force him into a. He wants him to roll away from Rebus to make him burn the action.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess it's going to depend on where Hollow ends up here, on how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know what the move. Oh
Ooh,
no!
oh.
You are so lucky you're flying Hollow and not literally any other ship in this game.
Well, it still just does leave Hollow with just one of two actions here. Now he did manage
I
to
don't
get
think
out
the
of this.
crit.
Crit doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
nope.
Yeah. So, but you can only do the whole action. So it's either target lock or a what is it, booster barrel roll.
Target lock or a barrel roll.
Yeah. So then, I don't think a barrel roll gets you very much.
I mean, it guarantees you a shot.
Oh, I mean, I think you have the shot regardless. Maybe.
No, Vader can roll under it.
Maybe. I'm not so sure.
I bet you Rick's gonna try.
Yeah, probably because he doesn't want to take 3 shots. He wants to get out of Rivas's arc if he can. Um, so he's taking a target lock. That makes sense to me.
Yep.
Did he take a strain?
No,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a strain.
So he's gonna
So he's gonna
pass.
give it. I'd give it to Rivas.
Yeah, me too. Basically, Dare Vader.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, give him the free kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Just say,
Vader's
right,
gonna take the free kill. Well,
oh
now
yeah, he'll take.
now I give it to Petty Officer Thanison just as an FU.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that.
Interesting. So far no barrel roll, and actually I'm not sure a barrel roll would get him totally out of arc even forward.
I promise you, it clears Hollow on this one.
I don't think so.
I think a roll forward's gonna clear it.
I don't think so. And he just nudged Vader.
Did he?
Yeah, it moved a little bit.
Everyone, pardon for the sound while I open. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 10 o'clock where we are. It's fine. All right, so here goes the strain.
If he's burning his force, was that for the force must have been for the target lock?
He shouldn't have had to. He already had a focus, right? Oh no, that was last turn. Yes.
No, that was last turn. He
Yeah.
couldn't have because the shuttle hit the cloud.
Ouch. Good night,
Yeah,
Rivas.
Unless Daniel things happen.
Fair. He'd have to roll triple evades. And that's not triple evades. All right, so that's full points on Rivas. So it's 45 to 27.
The BM direct hit. Just off my board.
Yeah, that's not when you want to pull the direct hit, but alas.
Yes, it is. You want to pull it on a dead ship.
No, I mean if you're Rick.
Oh yeah.
If you're Rick, you want that direct hit to be still in the deck.
Well, frankly, you probably wanted that direct hit on Hollow because that next crit.
Oh, Rick spent his focus?
Yeah, he did.
Huh. Oof.
Oh no.
I hear Vassal doesn't like rerolls. Well, you just spend the force here and get out of it.
Yeah. Vassal doesn't like rerolls, but Vassal loves Daniel.
The conspiracy theories grow.
I will always find a new excuse. You know me.
All right, so let's see. Thanison. Wait. Yeah, Daniel has initiative, so yes, Thanison should go first.
Nah, that's too bad.
Well, he's got the force to make that 3 hits.
No, he spent it.
On
Rick rolled 20,
right, he used right. He used Snoke. No, I'm talking about I was talking about Thanison. He used Snoke's force to find out Vader's dial. That's why he didn't have it.
That's 2 damage on the shuttle, I believe.
Yep. And I think here you just oh boy, do you put pressure on Vader? What's Vader's force at?
1. Absolutely.
Yeah, you fired Vader. Yep, definitely.
If you have, I mean, you've got a choice between an unmodded shot at a freaking shuttle, or you go for Vader. Yeah. Well, almost.
Yep, almost.
That would piss Rick off a lot.
Well, that's kind of basically that's 2 average rolls right there. They just balance each other out, so it's fine.
Shuttle probably into the ups. No, you should.
I think you go into the ESC.
I mean, he's got a shot at Hollow too.
True. True. Neither of them used the right command here. He's going at the ESC though.
Good roll, good roll.
Yep. Daniel laughs at it.
Daniel stays laughing.
Yep. All right, so we end the turn basically where we were right at the beginning of combat, once Rivas was off the board. So Daniel has a small lead, 45 to 27. Um, let's see. So let's go, Vince. If you're Rick, what do you do here?
You're in a tough spot. I think I'm ailer-running Vagabond.
Yep.
To the right into a one hard focus.
Yep.
That's the easy.
That's the easy one. I agree. Yep.
I'm gonna move that Epsilon. I'm probably gonna sloop with the Epsilon. Yeah, I'll sloop with the Epsilon right about south of where Vader is. I'm pretty sure that fits. Alternatively, they have a 4K.
Yeah, they do. I think
Yeah,
if you're the ESC, do you think about just one harding into Vader's path?
Yes, it's definitely a thought.
Because you've got Snoke, right? So you can dial stuff in for both Hollow and the ESC to put pressure there. Daniel's going to be able to move Petty Officer Thanison into the way of the OGP. So I think I think the OGP probably two hards here, just to be in the path. And Hollow's
5K.
the tough one. You think a 5K? Get behind Vader?
5K.
That does leave you vulnerable to Vagabond, though. You could also,
I'll put it this way: wherever that Epsilon goes is where Hollow's going to go.
I mean, Hollow could also sloop right in front of Vader, I think.
Is it a 3?
I think it is.
Yeah, that's a good spot for it. Because if he K turns, he's right in front of you.
Yeah.
I think the Epsilon is going to telegraph what Hollow does.
I agree.
Because you have to keep that thing there to keep Hollow safe.
Yep.
I don't know what to do with the Epsilon since my Vastal foo is really, really bad lately. But whatever the Epsilon does, Hollow's going to do.
Whatever the ESC, the Epsilon?
Yeah.
Not the Epsilon. Well, it's just because, unfortunately, Thanison is an Upsilon, so I just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly.
I think I said Epsilon, but my mic cut it off.
No, it's fine. No, you said Epsilon. I just wanted to make sure you said Epsilon rather than Upsilon because, they sound almost the same.
Yeah, too hard lock with Thanison.
Lock Vader.
Well, no, you know what? With optics, you don't need to.
Right.
Yeah, I think maybe too hard focus is the call.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to figure out where I could. Yeah, the other thing about it, you know what? Frankly, Thanison doesn't care. You one hard Thanison because if Vader 4Ks, you're going to drop a tractor beam on him.
True.
And I think that basically guarantees that Rick doesn't do a 4K here.
Yeah. Well, I also. Yeah, because that is the worst case scenario is Daniel remembering Thanison's shenanigans.
Nobody ever does.
No.
People forget that there are factions outside of Scum who can use tractor beams.
True.
I mean, ever since Ensnare got taken out behind the woodshed and shot.
Well, yeah, but fuck that card anyway.
Oh, I don't disagree. Dude, it's a sloop. The Epsilon's going to sloop. Sloop left. Sloop left in 5K all day. No, I would sloop.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The Epsilon, I'm not sure, has the sloops clear in either direction. I think the safer play for the Epsilon is a one hard towards Vagabond.
Yeah, I just hate that.
I mean, it's not great, but if Vader doesn't move aggressively, you're at least in the way of some of his slower moves.
The problem is that you don't want to block Vader out of wherever you're putting Hollow.
I mean, if you've got Vader blocked where Thanison can put 5 dice on him, I don't think you care, right?
That's 100% correct.
Yeah. And that is kind of the position Daniel's got Rick in. He's got to think very hard about, where Vader is going to end up. Also knowing that if Daniel chooses to, Daniel's going to know exactly where Vader is going to go, right?
Yeah, Hollow is no longer the biggest threat to Vader. It's now Thanos.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if he won Hearts, there's almost nowhere Rick can go.
Rick would have to basically go like 4 forward.
5 straight.
Five straight. Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't be shocked actually to see that out of him. It just leaves Vagabond kind of in a shit position.
Oh, Vagabond would die shortly after.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, I don't think it's a bad. You know what? I don't think that's a bad idea. The 5 straight with Vader here, because it'll pull Thanison around that corner, and then the shuttle's behind him, and Upsilons do not turn around.
Yeah. I don't hate it either, I'll be honest.
He's still Vader. We were right. He's running. It's a 3.
Ooh, but he's doing a 3 bank. So he's going into where Hollow is. And actually, if Thanison did a 1 hard, he might be in Vader's way.
I think it's 2 hard.
There you go. There's the 2 sloop from the ESC. So you and Daniel are smarter than I am. It does fit. That's not good.
Oh no, that's not the play.
Ooh. But he does have the ability to pattern analyze a coordinate to Hollow if he wanted to.
He took a focus.
He took his own focus. All right. Well, he wants to put some damage on the OGP, I guess.
I would not be surprised if Hollow, if Daniel saw this coming and throws Hollow over at Vagabond.
I wouldn't be surprised on that either. Just let Vader put some damage into Thanison and live with it. I still prefer probably to damage or to have blocked the OGP, but whoa.
Rick went for the block on Thanison.
Well, actually, what's interesting here is I don't know that Vader clears a 3 bank with that being where the OGP is.
I agree.
Yikes. That is an aggressive 3 bank from the OGP here.
I think the board you're looking for is suicidal. Yep, there it is. Although it doesn't do anything to a large base. Don't you need 3?
Correct. It does not matter. That's interesting from Hollow, and then and Vader's definitely not getting his 3 bank off if that's where Hollow's going to be. But I don't think you want to be taking a range 1 shot from the OGP. Either.
I was going to say I'm pretty sure you roll forward.
Yeah, forward is safe. I don't know that you get the bump on Vader anymore, but I don't think you care because Vader's not going to get a lock, and Vader's not going to throw, extra dice at the petty officer.
Take a chunk out of, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think you're okay with this if you're Daniel, and I think you barrel roll forward, then you take a focus for your defensive shot against Vagabond.
Yeah, and he's going to throw the strain at the Epsilon.
Yeah, and plus that way the Epsilon will actually get a shot on Vader because if Vader bumped... Oh, never mind. I'm not sure the Epsilon has a shot.
I'm surprised he's going to stay there in front of the OGP.
I am too. Yeah, that's...
Unless he can't kill him. It'll be Simo Fire.
Yeah, it's interesting choice. So 2 dice versus Petty Officer Thanison here.
I think what Daniel's doing with the Epsilon there is what's called playing the odds.
I mean, it's no harm, no foul to Daniel if he just piles damage on the OGP this turn, right? Like,
no, but you don't want to get you don't want that 1 bad roll from the shuttle to come through and Hollow gets 1 tap.
I don't disagree. Maybe he hoped that the OGP didn't have an arc. I'm not sure why Hollow's not firing. Oh, there he goes. Okay. So 3 dice in the OGP.
Vassal, hates, blah, blah, blah.
I hope Rick realizes that the OGP gets a die.
Nope.
Rick.
Unless we're wrong about tractor.
No, we're not. They changed it. Oh, strain token.
Oh, he over the cloud.
We missed the strain.
Apparently, it just wasn't there.
No, he rolled it, but I didn't see the token go on the board.
Okay, this is what you're saving the focus token for. Just hoping the Vagabond doesn't drop the trips on you. Man, can you imagine if adaptive optics worked on defense? Oh no.
That's a really nice roll. So Daniel's dice.
That's exactly what he wanted.
Oh no!
Heart attack.
Yep.
This is panic time.
Well, it's one shield, one crit, so half points on Hollow.
But there's always the chance. No, it's panicked.
Which is not great. That's basically Vader bait.
Yeah, but you know what? If there's any ship to throw it on, it's the one that can throw red tokens away.
Yeah. All right, so that's half points on Hollow, and Rick is now up 60 to 45.
That's a big shot. That's a huge shot.
Or actually, the OGP is at half points too, isn't it?
Bang. If the fuel leak comes up, if either a fuel leak or a direct comes up, the shuttle is dead.
Yep. Well, unless the fuel leak comes up fourth.
Dead.
Oh, that is dead OGP. Wow, what a roll. And now back into Daniel's favor, 92 to 60.
But he's going to get one more.
Yeah, I did not think... Oh, yeah. Oh, wait.
I did not think the Epsilon had Vader either. I agree. Daniel might regret not rolling with Hollow.
Yeah. Wait, who's firing it? Hollow? Oh, the ESC is rolling on the shuttle just because there's nobody else he can fire at, so...
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah, that's not great. And that's a dead Hollow. Welp.
Okay, so...
And now we're back to... It's 92 to 92.
This game is decidedly in Rick's favor right now.
Yeah. There's almost nothing Daniel can do about Vader now.
Yeah. About all he can do is have the Epsilon chase him around in circles.
Yeah, and this is, I think, largely why you and I were in agreement that there's no way Thanison should have done anything but a too hard. Whew. Well. But yeah,
I think he should have barrel.
Yeah.
I think not barrel rolling is what did it.
Hollow should have barrel rolled it. Yeah, I mean he did have that option to get out of there. Too bad.
You don't risk that. There was no need to.
I think he was hoping that bump would still get the ESC, the shot on Vader, but the clear way to get that shot on Vader was to let Vader go through and hit the OGP, given where it was. So.
Yeah, I also don't understand the one hard anyway.
Oh, from Hollow?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he probably expected the OGP to not be that far forward. I'm not sure.
Sure, but I'm not sure wherever that OGP ends up really affected that maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both talked about a sloop instead, and maybe that would have been less risky, but... Or
Oh,
he
if
could
he
have
had
gone and killed Vagabond, as you said. But
if he had slooped where he would have ended up, he'd have been at range 3 from Hollow. He'd basically be about to the right. He'd be in the hip pocket of the Epsilon right now. I think if Daniel loses this game, that's going to be the turn he looks at as what cost him.
yep.
Now, here's the thing. What turn are we on? Are we keeping it? 6? Yeah.
We 6 feels right. If not 6, it is no worse than 7.
Here's the thing. It can take a long time to burn down an Epsilon.
Yeah. Well, the
especially one that's going to be, double. That's probably going to have a reinforce for the rest of the game.
yeah. I mean, the challenge I think for Daniel here is that he's never going to get a shot on Vader again with Thanison. And the ESC is just not enough probably to put damage on Vader.
No, it's
So,
not.
I mean, probably his best bet is to try to get a couple shots on Vagabond this turn, and then pray that he can maybe just reinforce his way to to the points win. That's not what you
Yeah.
want to be doing here, though.
Yeah. Gosh,
I mean, especially being stressed now.
Yeah.
You
Which
know,
is another reason I didn't like that stop at
yeah,
all.
I agree. I guess the only thing that is good here is you can guarantee that Vader's not going to risk either a Talon roll or a K turn, as long as he remembers Snoke.
There's no reason for Vader to not 4K here. There's zero reason to stop it. Yeah. Vagabond is gonna, if he does it right, he'll one bank and then turn it into, and then just one bank, and he'll put 4 dice on the Epsilon.
Yeah.
Of course. What in the world?
Yeah. He probably didn't
Okay.
he probably didn't expect Thanison to too hard because, stress.
There's very few things in the world that there's no reason to ever not do that.
I mean, but can't he just, now tractor him over behind the gas cloud?
You have to be in the front arc.
Ah, it is front arc only. Okay, never mind.
Um,
But
if
he
Rick
does.
is smart, he's going to kill the Epsilon this turn. Because here's what happens if he doesn't. Thanison bumps on him, and then Vader probably bumps on Thanison, who can stop the next turn. So I hope no, he's going to do it.
I mean, mathematically that's the right call here.
Rick showing them Daniel dice.
I think if you're Daniel, you go ahead and take the shields and
Take the hit.
save your focus. Or nope, he's gonna do the Daniel. He's gonna save himself some health.
Daniel does not take hits he doesn't have to. I wouldn't be surprised if probably about 60% of the win just came out of Daniel's sales. Hit crit.
Ouch.
I think we're out of direct hits, though.
No, there's no way.
I've seen 3 of them.
Yeah, but there's 5 of them, aren't there, in the deck?
I thought there was 4.
No, I think there's 5.
Okay.
There used to be 7, but I think there's 5 now in second edition.
Well, like I said, this is actually really big that Epsilon is going to live.
All right. So yeah, the Epsilon is at half. It's another 13 points.
Yeah, you one bank with Thanison here, and then you K-turn with the Epsilon. You're just Dannison is just in an impossible position. I don't know, Ben. Do you think there's anything other you can do with Dannison than bumping on the TIE fighter and setting up the stop for next turn?
I would be worried about like doing a one hard to try to block Vader, just because
Can't
you
one
know.
party still stressed.
Oh, the one hard is red. That's right. Yeah, it would be the two hard he'd have to do. Never mind.
I just don't see another choice.
I mean, Vader has to do a slow bank or a two, not a too hard to clear that stress. So, I think I don't know. I mean, you could just one forward and hope Vader is aggressive, so you can get in behind Vader next turn. I mean, it's not great. You
That's
could
why I
one.
think you ran to the left.
I mean, you could one forward bump the ESC.
Right. I think you one bank left and you bump specifically on the Epsilon to stop. And I think that turns your arc just enough that if Vader two straights, he might nose into it.
Yeah, it's
And he'll be
possible.
bounced. He'll be up against that cloud. So he can't roll out.
Yeah, and I think
that's my only idea.
I think the ESC might be better off actually slooping rather
Oh
than
yeah,
just a K
absolutely.
turn. So I think you sloop to the left. But otherwise, yeah, I think you're right. I think Thanison with either a one forward or one bank, either way, self bump, because you're not going to turn him very much with that one bank into the ESC. Um,
You'll turn enough. I mean, remember the distance on this is a little off, like a little weird in our heads. I think you get that arc around a pretty long way. And what if they had a? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the score is 105 to 92 in Rick's favor here.
Okay, so have half on or killing Vagabond would be a fair trade for the Epsilon. God, that just
Yeah,
tells you how expensive Epsilons are. Jesus.
I mean, I think I don't know. I think Vagabond probably left bank boost and then 1K
Easily.
just to put maximum firepower here. And I think you just one bank to the left. So there's a one
Okay.
forward bump. So we'll never know how much he would have turned. Damn it, Daniel.
Yeah, okay, turn.
Okay, K turn. He might have been worried about adding another. He's already structurally damaged. He might have been worried about the strain. There's a right one bank, and then turns right towards the ESC. So Rick definitely called that one, and a two forward from Vader. Oh, never mind. He one banked that way.
He wanted. I think Rick might have saw what I was talking about and made sure that no matter what, he didn't end up in front of Thanison.
Yeah. I mean, a two forward would have also cleared the stress and probably not been in front of Thaddeus. I think he was pretty safe there. I think the reason he didn't one bank the other direction was just to make sure that the ESC was killed by Vagabond. So here we have.
I'm sorry.
Here we have 4 versus 2. You were going to say something though.
I was going to say we also didn't talk about what happens if Thanison just broke out a two hard.
Yeah. And that's a dead ESC.
Yep. Now, as much as we admire and fear Daniel's dice.
Yeah.
Heroic.
All right, so that leaves just
and
Petty Officer Thanison.
Stand alone.
Yep. So, I mean, I think here your only choice is to too hard towards Vagabond. Um,
Yep.
oh, looks like they're calling it.
Yeah. I think it's a fair concede.
Yeah, that's fair because it was just gonna. I mean, Vader was just gonna destroy Thanison.
It
All
would have
right,
taken
so
a
a little
minute.
little bit of an anticlimactic last couple turns ultimately. But let's go ahead and talk to our competitors.
Sounds about right.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
Well
So,
fought, boys. Well fought.
so Daniel, let's get your thoughts on how that game went.
Um, it was a tough match. Obviously Rick's got a really good squad. Um, I didn't think he was going to flank as hard as he did with his what are those called? Strikers? Yeah, Pure
Yep.
Sabak and Vagabond. He caught me a little bit there, but I basically 90'd out and took one shield I think that round.
Yep.
So I wasn't too upset with that. And then the following round, I think I got Rick, or I think I called Rick's moves, and that forced him to do some weird stuff with his ailerons, which made his Vagabond go over that gas cloud with a stress with a red move bump. And I had a pretty good shot on um, Pure Sabak, but then dice were like, nope. I misclicked, and I rolled 5 instead of
Yep.
4, and it was 590 hits. I just hit the wrong, just
The
ever
dice
so
really
slightly
wanted
wrong
to help you,
button.
Daniel. They really wanted to
They
help you.
did, and I was like, and then we were just like we were laughing hysterically. It was like that was 5 hits, please. It was just let me cancel one, make it 5 hits, 4 hits. Just let me cancel the one dice, and then I re-rolled it, and obviously it was blank, blank, blank,
Yep.
eyeball or something,
So
and we were
Daniel,
just yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. Daniel, me and Ben have pretty much one question that I think probably decided that game. Um, did you know that the shuttle had arc on hollow, and you chose deliberately not to barrel roll?
Well, no, because I knew his Vader had done a 3 bank because I snoped it earlier,
Yep.
Sure.
and I didn't want his Vader to get a free what do you call it?
Target lock focus.
Free target lock focus action and do all its shenanigans with Vader that Vader does. And I think if I had barreled out, I would have missed my opportunity to shoot as well. I think I would have lost arc on my own shot. So it was a gamble. He had no tokens. Yes, it was 4 dice, but I figured, okay, he'll roll 2. I have 3. I'll maybe take one more shield. And uh, his Vagabond also hit crit, I think, that round. Something
Yep.
ridiculous
Yep.
as well. That was
Yeah.
just, dice variance, but
I
it
rolled
was it was a calculated risk because I
I
figured
Okay.
Yeah, I rolled 5
Yeah.
out of 7, and Daniel rolled
2 out of 6.
2 out of 6.
yeah,
Yeah.
like if dice had been more average, he would have done approximately 2 hits with Vagabond, and I would have probably taken maybe one shield, and then his OGP probably would roll 2 hits as well, and I may have nattied out there with because I saved my focus for defense for that purpose. I only spent on target lock.
Right.
So odds were I live with either 2 health or 1 health. It just so happened that no, that was not the case.
This is interesting because it's against, from what I've seen, that decision was against type from you. Like normally when I watch, you would have rolled away from that.
I normally would have, but I didn't want because if I had barreled out, I would have given Vader a spot to move in. He would have fit perfectly.
Are you sure about
and
that?
he,
Because we thought that Vader probably hit the shuttle
No.
itself.
no, he would have
Are you
no.
sure?
If you rewind it, yeah, because when
100%.
you go back, Vader's final position was on top of Hollow, but it did not touch the OGP.
Correct.
Well, regardless, I think Hollow still would have had a shot at the shuttle, and I think I go ahead
Mm.
and just absorb that shot with Vader in your place because Hollow is your endgame piece. You can't afford to lose him, and that's where my thinking was.
Yeah,
Anderson can't fight Vader one-on-one. Hollow at least has a chance.
Yeah.
Not to mention,
true.
Anderson had 12 health at the time.
Yeah, I mean that was what we were thinking was. Plus, he's Rick still has to think about whether he's going to let the ESC take a shot because also by getting the block where you did, the ESC didn't get a shot on Vader there, and at least that puts some
I
pressure. potentially.
Yeah, true. But he had full force at that point, so it was unlikely to do damage to Vader.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we
but
could
burning
definitely
force is important too. It was just what we were, what my thinking was there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't want Vader going like range 1 into or range 2 into Petty Officer with like his full attack instead of just leaving with 2 dice. And it was just like I said, it was a calculated risk.
Yep. So you didn't
I
think
think
that Thanison could solo Vader and Vagabond, huh?
Probably not. Not with Vader's position. He could just 1 forward forever,
Yeah.
and the moment I turn, he'll just 1 forward barrel roll, do his full
Yeah.
target lock focus, and then I'll be screwed.
Yeah.
Because I can only stop
No,
someone before he can
we
never get.
understood calling the game where it did.
Yeah.
I think probably any other. I think just absent any other factor, when Hollow went down, I think that game was pretty much over.
That's
Right,
what
and-
Daniel said too.
Yeah, when I had just the turn before this, I was like, that's probably a game I can see it there. But then we were like, yeah, we'll just 1 more ship dead, and then we'll go. And then he rolled with the 4 hits into him with Vagabond. I was like, yep, all right.
So
Yep,
real
I'm
talk
wrong.
though, Daniel, you really left Hollow there because you didn't want to pick dead last in our next tournament.
Yeah, you swapped with me. Yep. I'm going to counter. I'm going to find out what Rick wants, and I'm going to steal it right from under his nose, and he'll be left with the worst.
Like
of the
you
worst.
did to poor Tommy.
Yep. I'll be like, hey, Rick, what list do you want? Oh yeah, I think this is a good one. Hell yeah, it's mine.
Rick, don't let Daniel trick you. Don't tell him your list.
I won't.
So we don't want to spend this whole time talking to Daniel, though. Rick,
I
have a
do.
really serious question.
No, I'm just kidding.
You threw those 2 strikers out to die, didn't you?
He was moving so slow up the far side of the board. I wanted rocks between my strikers and the shuttle. That's just desperately what I wanted.
Right. That turn where Thanison one-hearted back towards his board edge.
Yeah, that's a great lead off. What happened was I was sitting there staring at my dial, staring at Thanison, and said, like, if he one hearts, I'm screwed. If he does anything else, I'm fine.
Yep.
What can I do that can handle that 1 hard? Nothing. Also nothing. Oh look, more nothing. Okay. So then that's how I ended up making my dials and so what ended up happening was I set my dials to try to set a trap for Hollow, and then after Thanison moved and I was able to see the board better, I realized that I could get Vagabond out of there and maybe Sabak could get clear as well. And actually, if Sabak had barrel rolled over and up, I think he would have dodged Thanison's arc.
I think so too.
But I would have left him tokenless sitting in front of 2 TIFOs.
Also, if you had rolled away from the cloud,
I would have dodged Hollow as well.
no, I think Hollow would have barrel rolled up at
I would
right
have barrel rolled
underneath
instead.
you.
Yeah.
Actually, I want
Okay.
to. This reminds me of something. I want to rewind 1 turn because Daniel, in the first engagement with Hollow at range 3 on Pure Sabak, you rolled hit focus and you held on to the focus, and Vince and I were both like, I had said earlier, I was like, Daniel's going to save focus for defense, but Vince, you and I would spend the focus here, right? You got to take that
All
extra
day,
die
every
off
day.
of Pure Sabak
All day, every day.
right here, and of course that ended up you would have actually taken that die off of
It ended
Sabak
up
a turn
being a moot
earlier.
point as we rolled 4 paint versus 4 paint.
What's that?
It ended up being a moot point. As
I
I
mean-
rolled 4 paint and he rolled 4 squiggles.
Yes, so
Right.
dice saved Daniel there for sure.
Yep.
Because Rick, my thought with that was, I'm either going to take away his extra die, or I'm going to make him spend the focus token.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And you did not roll
So-
natty hits, so that would have mattered.
That would have changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have mattered.
So.
But you were a brave man for sitting there, Daniel. I would not have done that.
Well, I also needed to preserve Hollow more just because it wasn't just a one. If it was a 1-on-1, I would have.
Yeah.
But because he had a follow-up shot with Vagabond, I didn't want to risk a naked 3
Right.
green dice hollow against another. Even if I got him down to 3 primary, it would still be 3v4 unmodded for both shots, and then another 3v3 but with a focus on him. So that's feels bad too.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, there were a lot of decisions in that game that were. I mean, I don't want to call them coin flips, but they ended up either. It's amazing how many of those decisions either didn't hurt you guys when normally it would, or they didn't, or they did hurt you when they probably shouldn't have. I guess is the other way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were
My
talking about
biggest
your stuff, Rick.
oh, yeah, my biggest lesson going into this game. So with the strikers, I wanted to keep rocks between myself and his list, and by him moving up the top side of the board, I knew I had to get around behind him and threaten. So that's why I committed so hard. It also helped that Hollow was there. I actually thought Hollow was going to bug out and try to hang out with the rest of his list. So that was a pleasant surprise. Um, and then that one hard was a terrifying option. I just didn't know how to respond to it with my dials. And then, but yeah, I did throw them out there to die in the hopes that they would trade up.
Yep.
I threw my strikers out there in the hopes that they would trade up. That either they could pound Thanison from behind for a turn or two, and get some points there, or that they could knock Hollow off when she wasn't paying attention or something like that. The biggest thing I learned is do not target lock and shoot at Hollow when you want to.
We were wondering at the beginning of the game if you had maybe learned your lesson or if you had overcorrected for it because of how you were flying Vader.
Vader doing a whole lot of, oh look, there's a TIE fighter. I'm gonna go shoot that. That ace over there. Yeah, I don't want to play with that.
Yep.
Yeah. No, Hollow hard counters Vader. It's annoying.
Aw,
I think that's about as hard a hard counter as exists, and that's one of them anyway.
So don't forget to get the log, guys, and run the stats.
Oh, I'll do that right now.
Yeah. And beyond that, that's the tournament, and Rick takes it with the perfect list. The one that I won't let get past the screening process next time.
What is wrong with you, by the way, for letting that go?
I just didn't throw out any lists. I just it's supposed to be random, so I let it be random. And here we
And
are.
then
Thank you for that.
I do also want to bring up another turn later down the line
Yeah.
that had some interesting points.
Yeah.
The one turn that I did a hard stop with Petty Officer.
Yep.
Yes.
I was talking with Rick right before with this as well, that I originally had a 2-turn dialed in just to go
Yep.
after Vader.
Yep.
And I would figure that 2-turn would then force the bump with OGP.
Yep.
And that would, if I had done that, I would have had more guns on Vader.
Yep.
But I wasn't sure if Vader was going to bug out versus, come into the fight. He decided to just I can't remember what he did, but he just did a slow move, I think.
Yeah, he did a one. No, he did one forward, right? That turn.
One forward, right? That was the
No, that was the 3 bank. That was the 3 bank because that's the OGP ended up in that spot.
Yeah. So if I had done the 2-turn and kept Hollow there, Hollow would have still bumped Vader. Then Hollow would have had a shot on your OGP, and Thanison would have had a range 1 most likely with a focus and force.
Yep.
Yeah.
No force. I spent the force on Snoke.
Right.
But I would have that focus. 5 dice got shot on Vader, and that was another
That's actually what
we
expected you to do. We were talking about that. We thought that was a foregone conclusion that you would use Thanison to block the OGP because that's why you took initiative was to do stuff like that. And we weren't sure what you would do with Hollow. And I'm not sure the 2 hard would have meshed very well with Thanison's 2 hard. Or the 1 hard you did with Hollow, but we were thinking maybe you might do some sort of. We thought maybe the 3 sloop in front of Vader would fit, which would have been interesting. And I don't remember which TIE fighter you had where it was at that point. So
he two slooped with the Epsilon.
Right, that's right. Yeah, and that would have been good positioning for that. But it felt like maybe you were a little worried about Vagabond with Hollow.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't want to do like a sloop or like a five. I thought about 5K as well,
Yeah.
but that would put
Which is what I
Hollow
was.
in bad
That's what I
line
was
of sight.
predicting you were going to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
was
because
th we thought you
with
might go
Hollow,
delete Vagabond
the
with Hollow
5K.
as well.
Yeah, I was worried about that 5K
Yeah.
on that turn.
We
And so
thought
my
actually,
thought
Rick, your safest move there was just a 5 forward Vader and get the fuck
I'd
out.
say, yep.
So I was talking to Daniel about that before you guys joined, and what I can tell you is that I was sitting there oscillating my dial between the 3 bank and the 5 straight, back and forth, back and forth. And I
and
eventually decided, you know
Violence.
what? I have violence and I have afterburners.
Yeah.
Um, I was just upset that my shuttle. At first, I was upset my shuttle didn't bump Thanison and thus would be able to um, be shot. And then
Not
Hollow
get
ended
the
up where Hollow
runaway.
was, and I was just like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah.
I would
yeah,
trade OGP for Thanison, OGP for
Hollow,
Hollow.
yeah. And I also had the red stop and the too hard also leaning back and forth too. I flipped like 3 times as well. So yeah, it was again. This is like one of those coin flip moments where I thought you were either going to do the 5 forward or the 3 bank into me or the 3 bank out. Like those are your options at that point for Vader, right?
Yeah,
And I figured there were 2 escape routes and 1 death route, or death as in the 2 turn for petty. And I was like,
yeah.
well, odds are you're going to turn out, so I'm just going to stay where I am and take the sure thing because I knew that if I
The shuttle
stopped,
would
there
be
was
there.
nothing your shuttle could do to avoid that shot. So I took the sure thing over the gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and without being critical, man, I think maybe playing it safe is what got you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's the
I'm
final,
not
though,
even
so
sure,
I didn't want to go.
I was just going to add to that, like, if I think about Thanison ever being stressed in a time where, Vader could be maneuvering anywhere behind me, I would take the I will not be stressed option almost every time, which is why the too hard made sense to me.
Yeah, like I thought that probably a 1 hard there was really good because it would have kept a pretty wide angle. You probably would have gotten a bump from the OGP, and you
Well,
basically have.
certainly when Rick yellowed the 3 bank,
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh. Well,
we
Rick,
So
I'm aggressive. What the fuck was that?
no, I'm talking about the
the
Really?
OGP's 3 bank.
Oh yeah, I don't know what
Like
that was either.
Rick could
that
have.
was I had a range 3 shot on so I'm going to walk you through that thought process.
Please
It
do.
was I had a range 3 shot on Thanison last
Yeah.
turn.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Thanison, much like the last time the shuttle and Thanison jousted, was probably going to zero stop. So, what should I do? Well, I need to cover that distance and bump if I don't want to take 5 dice at the face.
Yep.
So I need to I need to bump. Well, a large base is 2. A 3 straight is my fastest maneuver. That equals 5. 5 is equal to range 2. I would be able to cover the equivalent of range 2 and guarantee a bump if I had a range 2 shot, but I didn't. I had a range 3, so I needed maximum distance. Maximum distance would be available with a 3 bank because of the angle. Now, that was my only hope of a bump, and so I threw it out there because I was going over the gas cloud anyway. I wasn't going to get an action, so my thought process was go as far as possible and pray.
So YOLO, basically.
Yes,
Yep.
like the only way you live twice is if you get this bump, buddy. And it didn't happen.
Which she ended up not doing. Because Daniel did stop and you did get deleted, but hey, that's dice.
Yeah. It was my only prayer. If angles had been different, or if I had gone faster the previous turn, if I had 3 banked the turn before, I probably would have. It would have been very different.
Well, congratulations on the championship.
Thanks. Can I get a plaque or something, Ben?
You can have some of the plaque off my teeth.
Oh, jeez. Ugh.
No, you get nothing. You got the first draft choice, so that is your
You
plaque.
get nothing, and you
Yeah,
like
you
it.
get nothing and you like it. I want a hot dog and a hamburger. Case Spalding. Anyway,
Hey, I'm looking at the dice graphs, and the player graphs, and essentially what the story is looking like. Our attack dice actually have a pretty similar trajectory.
Oh wait, before you do that, don't forget delete that 5 dice hit.
I did not do that, but what I'm looking
Yeah,
at
that.
is um
what a swing that
So
will be.
let's just pull 5 hits out of Daniel's roll here, and all of a sudden he rolled as many blanks as he did regular hits.
and what I was gonna say is our attack dice graphs are fairly similar, but our defense dice, we both started out at +2, but I stayed there and Daniel didn't.
Well, he also started rolling far fewer dice.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Hollow. Also.
Yep.
He rolled more green dice than I did. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
It's because he
But
has 3 chips with 3 of 8. You only have 1.
Yeah.
I rolled 17 of aids after focuses on 26 or 28 dice. I never had a blank of aid, or I never had a unused focus on defense. That's incredible.
Say it with me, folks. Must be
just roll
dice.
natties. All right, guys. So yeah, that does conclude our tournament. Daniel, did you have any last thoughts since we kind of cut you off earlier?
No. That should be good. No, we talked about all the moves, dice to dice things, but yeah, there was, like I said, there was a lot of like coin flip moves where it could have gone either way, and you know, we just kind of flip a coin and see what happens. And this time, Rick got more out of those coin flips than I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's X-Wing, right? So yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do next. That we have some options in terms of format that I got to think about.
Another question: when we do next?
Huh?
When we do next?
I mean, that kind of depends on what we decide to do and how quickly we decide to do. So we have to do that next, and then we'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like this format. It's fun. It's very very casual, and
yeah,
I would. It's time to fly a new list.
Right.
I think. How many rounds do we do? 4 rounds or 5 rounds?
We did 6 Swiss, and I won't do that again. I think the way I would divide it up next time is do pods of 4, and then do round robins, and then do remix from there, and do a cut of some form. It'll depend on how many players we have.
So 3 rounds minimum, and then cut.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah, six rounds was a lot, but I wanted to give everybody a chance to get used to their list, and I wanted to be able to surprise people who went 0-2 with a chance to swap out. But
that's the campaign against cancer format. To be honest,
what's that?
Is they do pods,
Yeah.
and they play 2 games in the pod, and then they reshuffle the pods, and so they take all the 2-0 people, put them in
Right.
pods together. They take all the 1-0.
So
Or
when I
1
did
and
pods,
1.
when I did pods here, what I did was we did 2 pods. How many players did I have? Trying to remember. We had pods of 4. We played 3 games. We took the top 2 from each of the pods and put them in a new pod with the top 2 from the other pod. I guess we did 2 total pods. I think I only had 8 players. Then we took the bottom 2 from each pod and put them in a new pod together. And then we took the top 2 from each of the reshuffled pods into a cut. So basically,
if you scrubbed out, you could still make cut.
If you scrubbed out in the first pods, you could still end up making cut. Yeah. And then what I actually did is I did a top 6 cut. So I took the top 2 from each of the second pods, and then I also let 2 wild cards in from the. Actually, I think I let the ones who went 2-0 in the first run, but then came in 3rd and 4th in the second in the pot of good players. No, that's not what it really was, but I'd have to go back and look at the structure. But we ended up with a top 6 with 2 buys. The first place and second place ended up with a buy, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 played each other into the cut. And I came in from the 5th spot and finished out with the win there. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll keep an eye on Facebook, keep an eye on the Discord, everybody, and I hope everybody enjoyed this tournament. I hope we see everybody come back and play again. I hope we get some additional new players in. I know Jeff wants to play another Jank Tank round, and I'd be perfectly happy just to run Jank Tank again. I have noticed that some players want to do some weird ass format, so we'll get.
Like Rick to avoid his last place drafting.
Oh no. Rick will draft last in a Jank Tank format, so he doesn't
Correct.
get to
I
get
know,
out of
and
that.
I'm open and accepting of that. I need to prove that this was not the list that won. It was my piloting ability.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, Rick, I was 13th pick and you were first, so you know.
Yeah.
If you could pull off when we switch, then hey, there you go.
Hey, I think it's doable. I'll see you in the finals.
All right. 15th to 16th pick.
That would be amazing. Actually, let's see. Charles will end up picking first, so we'll see what he gets.
Yeah, I'm glad that I won my way to complete middle pick.
Yeah.
What am I gonna say?
I don't know. What are you gonna say?
Yeah. Well, also Drew Brody might be in.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Drew and Jeff, some other people.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. The other thing I was gonna say is what I really like about Jank Tank, other than the fact that I was flying ships I normally fly, is really what it got me doing is it got me when I go to Yasby and start building lists for competitive things, such as X-Wing Vassal Tournament Season 7, I find myself just looking at the same 3 or 4 lists over and over again. And what I really like about Jank Tank is it doesn't let me do that. It says, sorry, buddy, pick one of these. Like, you have to fly something that's
how would you know? Because you got the list.
How would you know?
How would you know? You got a list you would fly anyway.
I would not have put an OGP in this list, and I would not have flown Vagabond with no bombs.
Well, that's true.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that you wanted 8 more free points to fly Vagabond?
Yes.
You've got 2 strikers, Vader with burners, and a coordinate. That is your list building. Shut up.
All right. So yeah, I agree. I like Jank Tank because in theory everybody's playing a list that they would generally never put on the table, and it's a fun experience. I mean, the Jank Tank I won, I had 2 scimitars and 2 droids. That was my list, and it was actually super fun. So I never would have flown it otherwise, but there we were. Yeah. So as I said. I'll try to figure out what we're going to do pretty soon. I'm going to take the temperature of the group and see how many people want to go right into another round of Jank Tank and start a draft, and what percentage of the group isn't going to be able to rejoin us, and what percentage of the group would rather try something else. But if we do something else, I don't think we'll do a draft. I think we'll do some other thing. Like I'm interested in like doing a different format where actually we would do a ban list, so everybody would get I'd just randomize the draft list again, and then each person gets to choose a pilot that just does not get to appear in the format. But
I'll save this for off the air about that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not sure that that's what I want to do. I'm just saying it is an option. So anyway,
it could be fun.
I will. I want to close this down so I can go to bed, guys. So thanks, Rick, and thank you, Daniel, for a really fun game to cast. Thank you, Vince, for joining me in the booth. Thanks, folks who listened in, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.